If you're sad that F1 Manager was cancelled this year, this could be your perfect replacement. And if this is your first video you've seen of mine and you don't like spoilers and you like this kind of game, I'd recommend checking out the full season playlist. It is currently up in a card at the top right if you're not on TV. It is also linked in the description. But you know, I'm not going to tell you how to watch your YouTube. You watch your content how you want to watch it. If you rather watch this episode and then go get caught up afterwards, that is just fine. Today, I will also be joined by a special guest co-commentator as well, so stick around for that one. I'm very much looking forward to you guys hearing from him. It's a real life friend of mine, and he's very excited to be here too. So, like and subscribe is our team. Like and subscribe. Now, you might see, if you are a fan of the series, something has changed on this panel. Let's first see who we're going to replace Von Heim with. We have to pick a replacement for a single race. They're all dirt cheap. This is only going to be a driver for one race, right? So there's no need for us to splash out. I want to take a free driver. I know we could have had the chance to get someone for one race who's amazing, but it's wasted money when we need that for our upgrades, I think. You know what? Romano was in my offline career, so we're going to go with Antonio Romano. Welcome to Like and Subscribe, Antonio Romano. Welcome on in. I can tell you now, Artie is recovering well. He's got his girlfriend doting on him while he's got his feet up. He doesn't even have to walk the Shih Tzu anymore. He's relaxing at home, just recovering, and he's surrounded by love. So thank you for all the kind words that we got in the comments about Von Heim. I've passed them all on to him, and he can't wait to get back into the car. He's feeling invigorated by the fan support, and he wants to deliver a great result for you guys next week. You may not know about Antonio Romano, rich parents, so he was essentially free for us, which is really good with the money situation we've got going on. He's also a silkworm, so he's going to wear his tires down slower. This was the main reason I picked up Romano. We want to do more one-stop strategies. We really do. It's going to be easier for him to do one-stops, I think. And then finally, he's patriotic, which you know how I feel about the nationalism in the sport, but we can't get away from it. Unfortunately for him, that's not where we're going this week. We are off to Canada. It is going to be not only dangerous, with a 50% increased crash fatality chance, which after last week, we don't want, but also it's going to be cold, which means there is less grip on the track, which will also potentially contribute to crashes. But it also means tires are going to wear 10% slower. And that is another reason that we're going to be going for the one-stop strategies. Why am I going on so much about one-stop strategies? Because the pit stops have been our big weak point. At the start of the season, it was the race starts. Now, the weak link in the chain is definitely the pit stops. I have talked with Escarso about this, and Escarso is working to try and improve things, but, you know, I've been open with him, and I'll be open with you. If things don't improve by the end of the season, we will be looking to change our crew chief. So there could be a personnel change at the end of the season. I was told our very own driver, well, I'm going to say it the way I've been saying it for a second, Rodriguez, is not pronounced Rodriguez or Rodriguez. It's actually apparently Rodriguez. I sound like an idiot saying that, probably, so I might stick to Rodriguez and try and just say that, but let me know how I did on that pronunciation, because if it is actually right, I will obviously honor his proper pronunciation of his name going forward. We have slipped down the order after last week. Both of our drivers have dropped 2 places. We were 10th and 11th, we're now 12th and 13th. The biggest winner from last week was Rinaldi, who managed to score the first 2 points for the team. So while we would absolutely not wish a driver death on anybody, Bancroft may see Rinaldi's hiring as a silver lining, because Rinaldi is their first point scorer of the season. He gained 7 places by scoring those 2 points. Viaba's also up 4 places to 9th, which is one of the reasons we've been knocked down. It's getting a lot closer in the midfield. There is kind of 3 championships developing on the constructors' side. Obviously, Etzolini and LeBron, Ferrari and McLaren at the very top of the tree are not to be caught. I think we know that already. Chapman and Wayland have their own little fight going for who gets the 3rd podium place on the constructors' standings. Chapman did overtake Wayland. Chapman were down in 4th, but after last week have now come up to 3rd on countback. And we look more under threat from our 6th position than ever, because Hemlock have now closed the gap to just 1 point. We are now also 2 behind Pope. Bancroft down in 8th is only 4 off us as well. It's a very sketchy situation. That's the championship we're in right now. Can we get 5th place out of this season? That's going to be the story of the second half of the season, because we are drawing this first half to a close. As always, I want to go in and just check on the cars for a second. HereBeCush here in post. I had a little bit of an issue with the recording. It doesn't affect the race weekend, so don't worry about that. But it means that in the footage you're seeing, the upgrade has already been done. Essentially, we upgraded Rodriguez's chassis because of the performance last weekend and its lack of reliability. Enjoy the rest of the video. We're still back to $1 again. We could do to save up some money. I just think while we're in the fight, we've still got to pour all the resources we can into this year's car. Next year's car or saving up for a bigger thing would be good. But right now, things are a lot closer in that midfield than I care to think about. Quick recap of last week. It was wet. During quali, we got 2 fast laps in and ended up 12th and 13th on the grid. Schaub for the 3rd weekend running, bringing out a flag after losing it in quali, and yet has still somehow bounced back to jump us in the standings of the drivers to go 11th. It's resilience from Jan Schaub, you gotta say. Off the grid, Rodriguez and Von Heim looking pretty stable because we were the same positions after lap 1, but then coming out of the long right-hander in sector 2, Artie Von Heim dipped just 1 wheel into some standing water just off the racing line. The poor guy was sent spinning off into the barrier. We were all heart in mouth as we hoped to get the thumbs up from the medical car. He did survive. Off that red flag restart, Rodriguez seemed inspired to perform for his teammate, jumped from 13th off the grid to 7th, Berthier Rosenqvist, into the barrier for the 2nd red flag of the day. And unfortunately, Rosenqvist's fate was not as positive as Artie Von Heim's, joining Rodney Campbell in the great soup in the sky. That's 2 now this season. Something needs to be done. That 2nd red flag brought out a 2-lap shootout. It was just kind of battling for 13th, really. We ended up 14th with Rodriguez. He knows it wasn't enough, but on the day, we just couldn't do any more. So this season is going to hit the halfway point as we move to Fascar Park for round 5 out of 10 of the 1970 season. I am joined in the commentary box this weekend by multi-instrumentalist and should be critically acclaimed artist Chris Vox. Chris, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, I feel like we've fueled ourselves very well already with a sterling Sunday roast.
I tell you what, the roast dinners here in Canada, I didn't expect much from them, but we found a place. We decided to dine just before the qualifying session, and it's been delectable.
Ah, yes.
If the racing is half the quality of the food that we've had at the moment, we're in for a real treat this weekend. Of course, this is a dangerous track. Because it's cold as well, you know, you don't have as much grip on the tires, but also they don't wear as quickly. So what are you looking out for from these drivers as we go through this qualifying session?
I'm expecting professionalism. I think also from the recent history and some of the losses that we've had, I think hopefully drivers are going to be taking this more seriously. Hopefully no drivers are going to be going out the night before, having a few too many.
We've got to say, yeah, I mean, I said it might have contributed, and I think it contributed in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're hungover driving a car in the wet, you know, we don't want to speak ill of the dead, but it's got to be said, you've got to be careful in this sport. You know, it's a dangerous sport.
It's 1970s, after all. It is a new age for a lot of people. There's a lot of innovation and development going on. Still quite a few people who are outspoken with, you know, drink driving isn't really a thing. They don't really believe in it. We're in the minority, I think, here, Kush.
We really are, and I think... Yeah, sure, you know, you just want to enjoy your night and get back, but at the end of the day, it is dangerous. And if nothing else, this sport has shown that beyond any shadow of a doubt.
If you are going to go on a sesh after the race, just call up a Mountie. Because how much fun would it be to be absolutely wasted getting a lift back on a horse? The original horsepower, after all.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that sounds amazing to me. And of course, something for this weekend is that all the drivers, out of respect for the fallen, are racing with both drivers' names on their helmets this weekend, which we think is a great show of respect.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a fitting tribute and one that may catch on. It's a new thing for this season and yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't get to the point where they run out of space on the helmets, because the way these safety regulations are going at the moment, we hope that that's the last we'll have to deal with these kind of situations this season.
To be honest, I'm just glad they have helmets.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I think we're getting the green light for quali. It is a bright sunny day here at Fascar Park for the 5th round out of 10 of the 1970 season. Already we've heard reports. Christoph Fischer of Team April, currently sitting last in the Constructors' Championship as well, partied a little bit too hard yesterday. We were talking about this just a minute ago. Towards the bottom of the league, maybe he thinks they don't have too much to lose right now.
Maybe he was trying to raise a glass to fallen comrades.
Well, let's hope there's no more of it. Nera Latella at Team Wayland, who were just overtaken by Chapman at the end of the last race, feeling invigorated. So you can bet that they're going to be performing out of their skin today. We're going to pause for a second just to check out the corners on this track. Bennett Bend is where the start of the lap comes in, leading through Wilson Way, round Cooper Corner, end of the straight, sudden sharp turn of Morgan Meadows. through the twisty section of Ross's Run, all the way around Dewdrop Corner, which is just the longest right-hander you can imagine before you suddenly snap the steering left to head down the long Gardner straightaway all the way home round Gray's Corner to finish the lap. Where do you think the action's going to come from on this track this weekend, Chris?
Well, I mean, Bennett's Corner, you know what they say, bend it like Bennett. I'm really enjoying some of these names. I think it's going to be that sort of mini Oxbow Lake in the top left-hand corner of the map. I think that could be a serious point of contention. And the other one being that long, languid corner for the rest of the map it could cause some complacency.
Yeah.
And so that could then have a knock-on effect on the corners afterwards. We'll see.
We'll see what they bring out. We're going to send the boys out to get some time out on track as qualifying begins. 40 minutes here at Fascar Park as we're going to settle in and see what everyone can bring to the table. We have already 6 cars on track, 7 cars on track, and it's going to be fun to see where these teams all lie and where their first times come out. You know, that first time is really putting down a marker, saying this is how fast we are, this is what to expect from us. And we're going to go for a lap around the circuit on board with Rodriguez, coming through the first couple corners, looking very confident as he stretches out, comes into that sharp right-hander, and now it's all about the steering, all about the control. Newman Corner, the Dewdrop Corner, extremely fast out of that corner onto the long, winding corner here. I said corner about 100 times, but there's enough of them. And that is not a bad starting time. Less than 5 seconds off the Ferrari, at least the one that we have at the moment. And we'll see where they all shake out, Chris. Thoughts on that first lap?
I'm just loving seeing that snaking, that left, the right, there's intensity there.
Oh, we've got a yellow flag already. Sorry to interrupt you there, Chris. Henny Holgerson from 6th place on the provisional grid has crashed out and has brought out the yellow flag, and it is exactly where you said. You pointed to that long, languid turn and maybe causing complacency, and it seems like just out of Dewdrop Corner, Holgerson has lost it into the Gardner straightaway, and of course we saw something very similar with Artie von Heim out of that long right-hander last weekend. I'm sure in the same way, Chapman right now will be biting their lip, hoping that Holgerson is okay.
Oh, it's another piece of worrying news in this wonderful sport. Yeah, fingers crossed for Holgerson.
100%. First lot of tuning then. I won't be boring the viewers with how this all works, as we've been over it about 100 times by now. If you want to see how this works in more detail, go and check out the previous episodes. They will be linked in the description of this video. Romano, who is, of course, the replacement for Artie von Heim this weekend. Artie has been spotted around the paddock, though, signing the hats and the T-shirts and the scarves of fans. He's been enjoying some poutine with a couple of his engineers during the downtime. And it's been nice to see him, you know, getting back out there and not being scared to say, I'm ready to come back as soon as the doctors allow me.
Oh, it warms the heart, and it's great news. I shout out to Mike Lavery from Mike Lavery's Fisheries, having sent over a complimentary batch of Nova Scotian lobster rolls for us to tuck into. And we have set aside one as well for Artie von Heim.
Yeah, as we should. And his replacement for this weekend, as I say, is Romano. Now, Romano, which way are we going to take Romano with this tune? Let's see. This is the kind of track where it's a lot of cornering. But we've had some trouble with the starts before, and there is that long, not straight, but at least forgiving third sector on this track. And so I feel with that, we might start going for the engine. We haven't tuned the engine on these boys much this year, so I think now is the time to really start focusing on the engine and seeing if it does help with those race starts. Because a few of the fans have written in and said, you know, these bad starts might be due to not putting enough attention to the engine, because we've always been worried about the steering. A little bit of the engine might just be helpful here. We're going to go with the 1 to 9. Not a good start with the 2. Doing it again with the 1 to 4. I mean, now it's showing me a 1 to 19. I want to go big. Come on, let's go. 11. Not the worst thing in the world. Still looking to keep on the engine just to see if Romano will pull something good out of the bag with that. And I'm going to go with the 2 to 17. It's a big gamble, but we've got to take some risks right now. I mean, you know, Romano's in for one weekend only. We might as well go big or go home with him. 12. Not bad. About a third of the way, maybe halfway to a golden tune. I reckon we'll get one on him. We send him out on some softs. Rodriguez, I always like to split the strategy a little bit between the two, just to try and get some knowledge, some learning from the track. See if they go in a different direction with their tuning, if they're hugely different on time. I'm thinking steering. I mean, there's a lot of corners. 4 to 20 is a pretty big one. Because if you time this by 2.5 to get from the 2 to 5, you're looking at what, 5 to 12.5? 4 to 20 is much better here. 16, that's a great start. That's an absolute baller start. 3 to 9 would be this one. That looks better to me. Oh, it's come out as a 2 though. That's not too good. The 1 to 2 is a nice easy one. I feel like we've got to go big. 12? Oh, 1 to 3 or 2 to... that'll be a 2 to 6. We'll do the 1 to 3. And now all we can really do is the 1 to 2s. He's over halfway, though. Big tunes. Big tunes. We send them back out. And we'll see what people can bring to us this weekend.
I'm just a bit worried about Romano in terms of his headspace at this time. You know, didn't even get one lap round. And there was a crash. Let's hope that doesn't affect his nerves.
Yeah, you really need time to get used to these cars, to get used to the track, and any of that time lost is valuable time lost. We say that. He comes home 1/10 quicker than Rodriguez through that last lap. That's a huge performance from Romano right there.
Absolutely. I'm looking at Acosta as well and being quite impressed because some of his times have been a bit lackluster in other races, but he's in 10th there.
And that is big. That is big. I mean, I've seen this a couple of times before, though, this season, I've got to say, where we have an April car up there for qualifying, and then during the race, they just seem to fall away. I don't know what it is. Their race pace is just not there. I'm thinking engine might be the way, because if Romano has just gone 1/10 quicker than Rodriguez, maybe the engine is the way that these cars need to go. So it's going to be time. Let's see, this by 1 1/4 would be 3 3/4, and 5 to 14 is going to be the one. Can we get that big golden tune? 8 is a good start.
That's strong.
I want to take the 6 to 19.
That's strong.
0 to 5. So we can't go over 65. So if it hits 13, that's red zone. Anything else is not. And I'm nothing if not a gambler. Just shy of the golden tune for Romano by 1 point. He'll get it next time. He'll absolutely get it next time. Rodriguez is next. What do we got? 1.5 here. That's like 2 to 7.5. 2 to 8 is going to be better. Oh, we've got a chance to hit the golden tune immediately. You know I have to go ball to the wall here. Oh, we got it!
Huge.
Big for Carlos right there.
Huge.
And now I think we lean back to the engine. So times that by 1.5. We've got 3 to 7.5. That seems to be the more reliable one.
That's more reliable for sure.
Times that by 2, 0 to 10. I mean, these are pretty much exactly the same. Let's just spend. I'm expecting big things from Rodriguez now. I'm expecting big things. A golden tune after just the first 2 laps. I'm expecting something huge. I'm not going to lie. We'll send Rodriguez out first, give him pride of place, and see what he can muster up around this lap of Fascar Park. When he came in from the pits last time, he did mention he'd spotted some penguins running around, which in this climate, I don't know if I believe him. What do you think, Chris? They are apparently migrating to Canada this time of year.
So yeah, that's the thing. I'm a bit of a bird lover, a bit of a bird watcher. It's one of the things that I love about this guest role is obviously I get to come in here and see your fine self and see these fine cars in this fine place. But it's also taking in the natural beauty of Canada. And one of the things that I do love to do is, bird watching. I'm quite familiar with the migratory patterns of penguins, and they have been known to grace Canada with their presence.
And talk about gracing with presence. Romano and Rodriguez look to put in some great laps there, with Romano being half a second quicker than Rodriguez. What's happened with Rodriguez? What's happened to that golden tune? Golden tune on the engine. I mean, if steering hasn't done it for Rodriguez, maybe we go chassis. 3 to 13. Let's see, by 1 1/4, 3 and 3 1/4, 6 and something, 2 and 14. We're going to go with that 10. Not bad on the 10. Hit a 1 to 4. And that's about all we're going to get out of it for now. We're going to send them straight back out. Try and get as much time on track as we can from this. 3 to 18 is going to be better. Ooh, 0 to 6. 2 to 4. Got the 4, got the maximum. An extra quarter of that is about 3. This is marginally better. We're going to hit that. Within the 2 to 4 there would be better. We get the chance for a 0 to 3. It is a 0 to finish it off. But halfway up on the engine already, we could have... I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We could see 3 golden tunes.
Don't toy with me. Actually, please do.
I'm a little concerned about where we sit right now in the standings. I do want to be fighting for those points positions. After a good, strong start to the season, I don't want us to fall away mid-season. Both of them have gone faster in the first sector as we see another yellow flag has been brought out. Joel Ryan in the McLaren has crashed just before Morgan Meadows. That is going to ruin a lot of fast laps coming through there, including our very own. Because the third sector there, you see, white means they didn't go faster. That yellow flag may have ruined our chance at a higher position. Chris, what are your thoughts on all this drama?
To be honest, I'm really excited how that impacts that sort of top quartet with the McLaren-Ferrari rivalry there. It's a lot for Woods to be picking up now. He's going to be having to carry the entire team.
Do you think Maldonado might be able to push into the top 4? Because there's still room to improve in the 18 minutes remaining.
Yeah, you know what? I've been seeing him climbing the boards in previous outings. He could do it. He could do it. That could be huge for the entirety of the top 10. That could see a real placement shift, which also then obviously helps Team Knight in that kind of second set of, or third subset, I should say.
Big for the drivers as well. He's fighting against his teammate. Big in the constructors because Chapman, who Maldonado drives for, them and Wayland are right there in that second tier of the Constructors' Championship.
This is it.
It's neck and neck between them. So that could be the difference. That could absolutely be the difference. But of course, the downside to it is with Holgerson going out so early on, they've lost one of their drivers. They've completely lost one of their drivers. A little bit on the chassis then. Let's go big. It's time to start taking some gambles. I'm just going with the biggest options because we need to start gambling, because we need to start getting positions. 2 yellow flags in this session. It's a lot of time and potentially timed laps for us to lose. That's a big one there for Rodriguez. Oh, the 2 to 5. The 2 to 4. The second golden tune is in place. We use up all the rest of the points on the chassis. We don't tell him yet to go back out. There's still 4 minutes left of the yellow flag. We want to set a competitive time. So we're going to probably want to leave the garage with about 2 minutes left on the yellow flag, maybe just under, so that we don't get held up, because when it's a yellow flag, obviously full course yellows, everyone has to slow down, and so that timed laps just aren't as fast. And this is where it matters now. The last 15 minutes of quali is where the times will be at their peak. And if your peak is better than your competitor's peak, you will be higher on the grid.
And triple purple for Moretti.
Purple is fastest of anybody.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me one bit that Moretti is up there setting fastest laps. It's what Ferrari have done time and time again, and we're just seeing them repeat their plays out of what is already a very successful playbook.
Oh, I mean, it piles on the stress on Woods as well, because he knows that not only is he not going to have the support from Ryan, but also Ferrari are getting out ahead, and they're staying out ahead.
They are. They are. Right now, I think McLaren need a bit of California love for their times. Romano is faster in the first 2 sectors and goes P8 for Team Knight, with Rodriguez somewhat further down the order. We'll ask questions about that later, but Romano has made a big statement there. As a stand-in driver for a standout driver, Romano has become quite the talking point now already. That's big for Romano. We're going to look at the chassis. The 1 to 3 is going to be better here. Let's see, what's that? 0 to 8. 1 to 10 is going to be better. 1 1/3 would be 2 1/3 to 8. 0 to 12 is going to be the bigger gamble. Oh, the 4 to 13 could take us to the golden tune for Romano. It's not there. We're just going to miss out on it. We will get a chance for another lap out though. So Romano will benefit from that second golden tune. And it's time to just start sending them out as soon as they get into the garage, because we want them to set faster times. We're going big or going home right now. Caution thrown right into the wind as we put on the biggest tunes possible and we send them back out. With all these crashes, is there some maple syrup on the track, do we think?
I mean, yeah, some people say that maple syrup will add slipperiness to it. Some people will say that that viscosity can actually help with the tires. There are 2 schools of thought when it comes to maple syrupulous.
Oh, great word.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not a word that I just...
That was a pole position word there. That went purple in all sectors. As Romano and Rodriguez come across the line, and I don't know if I believe what I'm seeing right now. Both of them in the top 7.
This is huge.
Yeah, huge for Knight right now. They are now finally dropping back down, and I'm brought back down to earth a little bit. But for a second there, I just wondered.
Even from the previous where Rodriguez was, 16th? That's a massive jump for him.
And has, of course, crucially, leapt his teammate again now.
Yes.
He's once again the number 1 Knight driver on the board. It's just showing that mental fortitude, really. That's what it takes. When someone has stepped in, unfamiliar with the car, they're a one-time driver for 1 weekend only, and they outperform you, and you're supposed to be the staple in the team, it's got to put the shakes on you a little bit to say, well, now I've got to prove my position.
Yeah.
And I think Rodriguez has done just that. Stellar work. Speaking of Romano, though, as a stand-in, let's see if we can get the golden tune. We've got 2. Oh, this is big. We're tuning well. 4 to 10. We're just going big. I just want to get the biggest possible tunes. Caution to the wind. And we're about a third of the way to a perfect setup for the weekend along the steering here for Romano. And let's see what Rodriguez is doing. 1 to 3 is going to be better value there. 0 to 3. 2 to 13 is a big gamble, and we get the 13. That's a huge tune. A breakthrough from the mechanics. Of course, 2 of which of this team have come from MIT. So you know that they are going to be knowing what shortcuts to take and what things to get that other teams might just not be aware of. We've got some of the best crew here at Team Knight. And of course, as a commentator for the broadcast, I can't be too biased, but with the Knight team principal hat on, I have to give credit where it's due.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to give credit to the team. We've paid great credit and homage to all 3 drivers of Team Knight today. Don't know if we've really paid enough tribute and homage to Knight's owners.
Brendan, like, and Corey, subscribe.
It's great to sort of pay that tribute and homage from our end. And viewers at home, if you want to pay homage to like and subscribe, I think you know what to do.
Both amazing people, and yeah, honor them if you're enjoying this weekend session so far. We're going to go big or go home once more with this tune. 3 to 19. We hit 15. Oh, can we just push it over the edge? Not quite. The next tune, I think, will take things like a perfect setup for Rodriguez here. But this is a double-edged sword for Carlos. The reason for that is if you go out there with the perfect tune on your car and you don't pull off what should be a clear-cut fastest time compared to your teammate, the fingers are then pointed at the driver, right? If the car is in the best possible setup it can be and you're not maximizing its potential.
Absolutely, but Rodriguez has been very good at holding that pressure. I'm going to trust him that this is in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. When he comes across the line any minute now, Romano has just gone with a stellar lap. Rodriguez comes across the line and goes faster by 0.3. He's finally found that sweet spot in the car's setup window. He's starting to hit those laps 0.3 ahead of Romano. That is a statement to say this is why I'm the regular driver here.
Absolutely. And as a driver, this is exactly the moment where you want your big times to hit.
Exactly. And we're looking for big tunes to hit as well now, as we hit just the biggest one on each time. I might live to regret this. Oh, the 4 to 19 would have been it. We just had 2 more tuning points available, but we do not. So we hit a 1 to 4 and a 1 to 3. And Romano has got to be happy with that, though. 2 and 2/3 of the perfect setup.
Absolutely.
We're giving them the tools this weekend to do something great. We really are. And Rodriguez, it didn't come off. So now we're in a real spot here. 59 out of 65 means we've got 6 points to play with.
That's technically a 50-50.
4 out of 7 chance. We got to go for it, really. We got to go for it. And it's paid off. That's the gamble right there. That is why you don't quit while you're behind, because you'll somehow always recoup it. PSA, this is not advice for real life. This will be now Rodriguez's chance to show why, at the end of the season, he should be coming out on top of Artie von Heim, let alone Romano, who has put in a stellar performance already. If we start with both drivers in the top 10, that is a huge performance in quali for this weekend. As they come around, we're going to do one final lap on board with Rodriguez. Coming down that first turn, getting it turned around, ready for that left-hander. And this is where it just feels a bit like a roller coaster, going up and down and left and right around the hills. That big right-hander there, then you snap it left and you put on the power as you head out for that final slight curve to the finish line. And can Rodriguez bring it home? He absolutely can! P6 on the grid!
Right now, my brain is blasting out both my ears. I can't believe what's happening here. My mind is blown. I don't have any thoughts. My thoughts are currently sprayed up the back of the commentary box. It's amazing.
That was a shotgun blast to the head, that was, wasn't it? That was absolutely incredible. 6th and 9th on the grid. This is huge for Team Knight right here. I mean, obviously, with one of the McLarens out the way, the Ferraris have just stormed it. Moretti, in fact, actually 2 seconds ahead of Mach. That's a bit of a switch up. Luigi Moretti to P3 in the standings at the moment, having had a couple of bad weekends where even I asked the question last weekend, should Ferrari be thinking maybe that Moretti is the weak link in their chain? And I think he's responded to that beautifully with that pole position. P6 for Carlos Rodriguez is huge. Still 5 seconds off the Ferrari, but crucially 0.2 off a Chapman. Bregman may be one of the big stories here for this weekend. Up in P3, second row of the grid, alongside Paul Woods. Of course, Paul Woods' teammate Joel Ryan will be making a huge surge through the field, being in a McLaren car that is leaps and bounds quicker than any of the cars he'll have to face before P5, maybe even P4. Holgerson as well, very last position on the grid for Team Chapman, who also have a very fast car. So that's what to look forward to. I'm going to put my Knight team principal hat on for just a minute because it's time to think about race strategy. Now, we want to go for a one-stop if we can, especially with Romano. So I'm wondering about the hard tires for Romano, which would be 12 would be the midpoint, which is 39 laps. You take 3/4 of that, you're looking at about 30 laps. I'm not sure how possible a one-stop's going to be here. 30 laps would still leave us 33, unless we took it right to the end. The mediums... We'll see how long we can take Romano out for. Romano's going to be a bit of our test guy here to see how well a one-stop might do. We'll make him push right off the bat. Or actually, no, we won't make Romano push because he's going to try and go long. Rodriguez, the one-stop is what we want, but P6 on the grid. I don't want to waste that with some hard tires because that's going to make him slow, you know? So we go softs. We hope for a safety car around lap 15 to give us a cheap stop to go onto some hards and then finish off on softs again. It's going to be a 2-stop for Rodriguez. The fans watching will probably be shouting, "This is the wrong thing to do, Kush. What are you doing?" But I'm hoping that won't be that way, as we are about to go for 63 laps around Fascar Park in Canada. Karina Hussler, driver of Team Hemlock, has partied a bit too hard yesterday. They're not learning these lessons from previous fatalities. It's concerning for me, honestly, that I'm going to have to commentate potentially over a third driver's loss of life. And I don't wish that on you either, as here for a guest as a commentator for one weekend. I don't wish you to have to bear that as well, because it's a horrible thing to go through.
It is a horrible thing to go through. And I think we all go through it around seeing the viewers and all of your well wishes and the letters that come in, the comments that get made. It all means a hell of a lot to a hell of a lot of people. In a way, we're glad that you feel that level of compassion and that level of emotion. It's great to see with the dots.
They were clearly happy with the P14 in quali. So we can only hope that they're not going to end up in the wall. I'm not going to say that it's probably going to happen. I said that last week, and people, I'm never beating the sniper allegations at this point. So for this one, I'm just saying I hope Hussler remains safe. A mixture of strategies on the grid as well, as we see both Ferraris with the hard tires. They can afford it. And Rodriguez, one of only 4 drivers on the softs to start things off. So hoping to gain some positions and getting ahead, ready for that first pit stop. Holgerson as well, after crashing out yesterday, clearly got on the sauce a little bit early, has also partied hard. Be interesting to see if with that hangover, they can push through the field from the very back. So without further ado, we will be going for 63 laps around Fascar Park for round 5. The lights are off and the race is on, and immediately Rodriguez is holding on to that 6th place, with Romano coming up in 8th right behind them, but they're now slipping back down the order into 12th. Rodriguez is there in 8th place, trying to battle with Fonseca for 7th position. And immediately, Fonseca has hit the wall on the very first lap of round 5 of the championship. Fonseca is in the wall, and that looks like a bad one. In every weekend except Monaco so far, we've had a serious crash, and we were just talking, Chris, about how I didn't want you to have to sit through the will he, won't he survive that you're going to have to be feeling now for the rest of this race.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a part of me that's worried because, again, it's that same straight.
Yeah.
As soon as you get through those difficult winding Gs, left, right, and then you have to straighten out. And at that point, that's when it hits.
You absolutely called it. You said about the complacency. That sharp left turn, as you say, coming out of that long right-hander to the sharp left and then straight away. It can be a bit of a switch in the driving style, and apparently people aren't ready for it this weekend. I wasn't necessarily expecting a red flag this early, but I guess Rodriguez goes on to the hards at this point if everybody's on these hard tires. We're going to get the car repaired up. We're going to put them on the hards and hope that we can get a one-stop out of this. The softs kept us in position, so we're going to see what happens with that one. We're going to repair the car there. Romano comes in as well. We'll put him on fresh hards, repair the car, and now we just wait it out. Now we just wait to hear back about Fonseca. We hope that Davi's okay. Currently sitting P17 in the championship, yet to score a point, and you just hate to see it be the 3rd driver in a row that is a fatality without scoring a championship point. Chris, your thoughts on the restart coming up?
Well, to be honest, I really don't have any thoughts.
It's a lot to process, isn't it?
It's a lot. There's the logic, there's the emotion. We're thinking about his friends, his family. It's a whole lot. You can see the space there that is again being left in hopefully not mourning.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see at the end of this.
It's a respectful tradition from the drivers. They did have a moment of silence, of course, for the drivers that had passed in 2 of the races so far this season, Rodney Campbell and Berthier Rosenquist. It was nice to see just before the national anthem. As we're about to go into this, it's almost like that first lap was just an extra formation lap because they only got about halfway round. Ryan, of course, in the McLaren, huge first lap, straight back up into 5th. We were talking about this, and Holgerson up into 9th. It really does show that a powerful car can get you far in this championship.
And Bregman, again, doing absolute bits there in number 2. Fantastic from him.
Huge. I mean, we thought the Ferraris would get away with it on the hards, but clearly Bregman keeping them very honest. As we're about to go green again, I just want to make sure we're pushing. As we go green again, the lights are off and the race is on, and Levi Mack off the line has put the power on too hard and has thrown it straight into the pit wall. This is a calamity. The stewards have to ask questions, Chris.
Honestly, Formula One is like buses at the moment. This is shocking.
Take the time to process your emotions. I can see on your face, Chris, you are absolutely stunned at the potential here of losing 2 drivers in one weekend, and I don't blame you. That's big in the Ferrari-McLaren storyline for the year as well. Big at the top of the table, not only in the Drivers' Championship, but in the Constructors as well. All the cars essentially just parade around the lap to repeat what they've just done. And here we are, still yet to get one single complete lap of racing here at Fascar Park. And with just under a minute left of the red flag, the drivers need their confidence of rock and stone as they think about this race. They can't let the cars slip, as 2 of them already have. Finally, the race is back on again as we hope to get a complete lap of racing for once. It's a great start from Rodriguez to hold that 6th position. Moretti is out in front with Bregman keeping them honest, still ahead of both McLarens. Maldonado pulling up in 5th and Rodriguez still in 6th. The second of the hard tyre runners at the moment, Rodriguez. Romano in 10th position as well for Team Knight. A patient start. We have had now our first lap of actual racing as we just tell our drivers to chill out now and settle into what is hopefully going to be a one-stop strategy for us. This does make things easier to go for the one-stop. Because obviously, you know, Team Knight have struggled with their pit stops and how long they've taken in each race. So we are hoping that we only have to make one stop this weekend. And I think this will help, right? Because now we're 5 laps in and we've only really used 1 lap of the tyre life.
Absolutely.
If there was ever going to be a chance that we could get a one-stop, I think now is it. As we look at things as they are overall now, Moretti, of course, out front with the pace of Sebastian Vettel in 2013. Chris, he's not going to be caught, is he? This is it now.
No, absolutely. He's roadrunnering this. Yeah, I think he's absolutely out in front. I mean, yeah, Woods, Ryan, they're pushing. Bregman's still in 4th. Maldonado in 5th. Acosta doing rather well in 8th. He was 7th, but he's still holding up a top 10 position. And that will be great news for Team April.
It will. Acosta currently looking brilliant and not even out of position. He's in 8th on pace. You can see because he's managing to keep up. As now Rodriguez under pressure from Holgerson back there less than a second away. And it is huge. Just the difference between how casual this race must be now for Luigi Moretti and compared to how tense this is now for Carlos Rodriguez, for Henny Holgerson, and in 8th place even, Mario Acosta. Still proving that he's out there to get points, you know, to make a performance.
Oh, for sure. And also talking about tension, I mean, you've got Romano there in 11th. He's been battling out between sort of 11th and 9th. And he's been really around that Team Knight, Team Hemlock rivalry has really been...
A yellow flag. Sorry to interrupt you there, Chris, but once again, the cars are going to have to slow down because we have a yellow. This does not look as bad as a red flag, so I'm pretty convinced Rinaldi will be okay. Of course, stand-in for the late Rodney Campbell. So that would have been a horrendous situation for Bancroft to lose 2 drivers in 5 weekends. Once again, the cars slowed down, again helping with the tyre life. Much towards a one-stop strategy here. Maybe looking at about lap 40 for that. 18 laps. We want to come in about lap 45 for some softs. We can absolutely make that. We can pull off a one-stop. But of course, everyone else can too. The track was obviously really good to tyres anyway. And 3 flags in 13 laps is just crazy. It's just crazy.
Absolutely, but also you can see with Bregman and Maldonado who are really competing up there in the top 5 positions there with their medium tyres. And then you can see that whole host of drivers from Rodriguez below in their hards. Now, of course, yes, you would expect, you know, Holgerson, Acosta, DuPont to be there. But DuPont has been also much higher than 9th.
Yes.
In previous races.
Oh, hugely.
But rocking those hards, maybe that's affected his placement today.
Maybe it has. I guess they can afford it, though, because the Wayland pit stops are always lightning fast. Rodriguez once again under pressure from Holgerson, keeping Carlos very honest in the middle of what is the Chapmans making a night sandwich out of Rodriguez. Romano has meanwhile fallen below Viaba further back, and you know the Hemlocks, nothing compared to Rodriguez right now, but they've definitely got Romano's number. Rodriguez still holding out P6. You can see the 14-second gap ahead of him to Maldonado, who pits early. And that's going to be crucial because now both of those two have come out in front of Maldonado, as has DuPont. Maldonado, that's a very early stop onto some softs as well. So going to be looking to get fast track position and he's really going to need to make those overtakes pay off very quickly. But there's no way they make it to the end of the race on those tires, surely. That's got to be another stop, Chris.
That must be another stop, I'm sure. But, I mean, that was also a lightning quick pit stop. I mean, comparatively...
That's what I was talking about. I'm so sorry to interrupt you yet again. But that was a pass there from Holgerson. And you were 100% right on what you were saying about the lightning fast pit stops. 100%.
No, indeed, and quite right to commentate at that point. That was a great overtake there. Got to say, though, Rodriguez still holding up incredibly well. Team Night, we were talking about rolling the dice, taking a few risks. That's what you've got to do at Team Night at the moment. That's what that team has to do. So many of them have paid off as well.
Some of them have indeed paid off, and currently Rodriguez is trying to make this hard tire gamble pay off. The soft tire gamble at the start of the race didn't really do much because we were straight into some flags, whereas now most of the grid is on hards. And you see here, Luigi Moretti already coming to lap 6th place, and that is the speed of the Ferrari. It is a very relaxing day for Moretti. Again, almost like he's just out there in California catching some rays among the palm trees. You know, one hand on the wheel, one thought on his next holiday. It's a quicker migration than those penguins we talked about earlier.
And talking of quicker as well, Maldonado making those softs work and getting past Rodriguez, who is now being very, very pressured by DuPont. We'll see how that works out.
And DuPont, as you say that, tries to make a move into the final corner, decides against it. Maybe all these crashes are just kind of making people think twice about those more gutsy overtakes. You know, they'd rather get home one position down than not at all. And that's sometimes what's most important, is keeping it on the track. As Rodriguez doing a very stellar job to keep it as high in the order as he currently is, and will be bringing home a great amount of points for Knight if he can hold at least onto 8th. I'm saying maybe 7th is a bit of a pipe dream with DuPont having already pitted, but you never know.
Romano back in 9th position. He was all the way in, I think, 13th at one point. So, yeah, he's doing so well. Again, on hards, surrounded by medium tyres. He's being really pressured, but he's actually keeping some strong time. He's not being pressured in front or behind.
Not right now. He's in a bit of a lonely stint, but that's because they pitted. You know, you were right. He was under a lot of pressure from before. And for the 4th time in this session, and for the 4th weekend in a row, a yellow flag is brought out. And for the 4th weekend in a row, it's Jan Schaub.
It's Schaub.
It is. And Chris, even the guest commentator, already knows what that means for Pope, because that is not a rare occurrence by any means, is it?
I apologize, dear viewers. I was only laughing because otherwise I'd cry.
Yeah.
It was something that I was actually wondering about making another prediction of today. Is Schaub going to make it round? And no, he's not.
He's not. Again, for the 4th weekend running, it's crazy. I mean, Pope have got to ask that question. That's both of their drivers out now. You know, Kukkonen earlier on, Schaub, that's both of them. That's both of them gone.
And especially as they're being so pressured in that 5th position there. Team Knight and Team Pope have been really, they are literally neck and neck on points before today.
I mean, I don't want to say it's good for us, right? Because I don't think drivers being injured is good for anybody. But competitively speaking only, purely in the business of competition, it's a silver lining for us that the Pope drivers won't be scoring points today. Not that they're out, off the track and potentially in the wall, but at least that they're not scoring points over us. I feel kind of dirty just saying there's a positive side to people being injured, but it's not that part of it.
Well, one of the parts that I would have hoped in terms of a positive to this level of danger is hopefully, as we've had so many crashes, we've said it time and time again today, let's hope that the drivers play a bit safer. They know that this is a dangerous track, and they're not acting in that way. There's been so many crashes.
I'm not 100% sure on what the FIA decided about whether we have to run 2 mandatory compounds of tyres, but we're going to chance that we don't. We're going to see how it comes at the end of this, but Romano is going to go into the pits, try and get a cheap stop while everybody's on a yellow flag and slow down, and hopefully not lose too many positions. Where are those Hemlock drivers? That's the question. Here they come around the corner. Can Romano get out in front of them? Yes, he absolutely can. That's huge. Rodriguez now needs to also pit onto hards, Chris.
Oh, bravo. Bravo to Romano, just really holding his cool there. It must have been a huge amount of pressure. He's done brilliantly.
He really, really has. It's incredible because that now is as well giving us a great tire delta. Rodriguez comes out in front of DuPont with 8 seconds to go on the yellow flag as we're gonna run this one home. And we're hoping that now Rodriguez can hold out a little bit in front of, that's Romano, in front of DuPont. I'm going to put a little bit of burn on for Rodriguez just to tell him that he does have a bit of tire life to lean on with these hards, just to try and keep that 1 second gap a little bit. But the moment he starts to get too stressed, we're going to be dropping that away because we don't want to tell him to push and become the latest in what is becoming an horrendously long list of casualties here today. And this will be it. A one-stop strategy for both of our drivers and also for, I mean, let's be honest, most of the grid, unless they for some reason decided they were favoring the softs today. And Rodriguez saying he's in the zone, but he says that as DuPont makes a move on him to get past and retake that 7th position, of course, being on those medium tires. The question on the minds of us at the moment, though, is will DuPont make those mediums last to the end of the race?
Well, indeed, and I'm not 100% sure what DuPont's pit stops are like.
Wayland have a time machine.
Oh, goodness me.
This is looking good for Knight right now. We are relaxing a little bit. Potentially a surprise result here of 5 crashes. That is a lot like most Monaco Grand Prix. Because if you look at the distribution here of the crashes, right? There's one coming out of that twisty-turny section onto the long straight. You've got one just going into it, one just before the S-bends, one at turn 2. You've got one down the start-finish straight from the beginning. Is there any place on this track that's safe?
Yeah, it's a real mix. And even when we were doing the tuning and you were discussing, you know, what to focus on, as you say, there's such a mixture. There's such a variety. There's straight, there's soft turns, languid turns. There's those tight G turns. It's got everything. It's got a bit of everything. And then on top of everything else, it's a bit of a dangerous track.
Very much a dangerous track. As Rodriguez was trying to be a bit of a danger to DuPont on that last lap, was really pushing and pressuring him, but just couldn't seem to find a way through. Has now managed to get Fischer lapped. A few more people now pitting. That's one of the Hemlocks is there pitting. I think it was Bregman as well. I just saw come out of the pits. Still in 4th. Oh no, it's not Bregman. It would have been Woods. Woods was one of them. I didn't actually see who the other one was. Possibly Edwards.
Yeah, it was Edwards.
Yeah, there's a few of them pitting. Rodriguez still holding on to 8th, and I can just hope that DuPont's tires aren't going to last. Rodriguez could push just a little bit more, maybe try and keep DuPont honest here, as we maybe also want to ease up on the fuel situation. I'm just realizing how much of a problem that's going to be. We should be okay because of being lapped by the Ferrari. Rodriguez is trying to keep up with DuPont up the front there, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Behind him and in front of Romano is right here Acosta. Acosta is, of course, those mediums are starting to fall away. So the eyes are going to be on Romano more than anything right now. Of can he close that 3.3 second gap to Acosta over the remaining 15 laps? As Rodriguez has been pushing a lot now. So we're going to tell him to ease up before something disastrous happens.
Well, yes, if Romano can keep this pressure on, then when Acosta inevitably does have to pit, Romano's going to, well, hopefully be able to capitalize on that because there's no more pitting for Team Knight.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to think that Acosta's going to pit in the next 13 laps for softs. Because, I mean, there's no way that those mediums are going to last, surely. They're falling away every single lap at a rate of knots. Like I said in the first race, they're melting like an ice cube on a hot day. They are really losing all their skin like me the moment I go out in the sun. I burn, not tan, what can I say? But Romano, of course, being hunted down a little bit by Hustler, but from a long way back, and I don't see that becoming a problem.
Will Hustler have to pit as well? Hustler and Steiner?
I mean, those hard tires, it's a question, isn't it? Because they might still be able to make those last 9 laps. But maybe. But I think either way, Romano's going to be looking pretty safe at the moment. Acosta's pitted. Romano goes on ahead. And now we have 9 laps of Acosta on the softs, seeing how much he can catch up to Rodriguez. But Hustler goes past him. And that's going to be an extra job he has to do before he can take off. Mario Acosta might have just thrown away a 9th position with this strategy. Or rather, the team might have thrown it away for him. Comes upon Hustler now, trying to overtake. Hustler's rear wing is a stubborn image to get out of your mind, both physically and in your nightmares. But Acosta has managed to make light work of it on those fresh softs. And we'd be very happy to be running on these tires right now after being on those old mediums that would have been screaming with every single degree of turning of the wheel. Now, these softs are just begging to give you speed. They're begging to turn around each corner. Rodriguez, we've fixed the parts of the car twice, all right? We've done it twice. Carlos, look, I know your car is shaky, but I promise you, you're worried for nothing. We've repaired so much of this car, this race. You've got nothing to worry about. There's no way it's going to be a problem. Your parts are fine. Just keep on. You're in P8. It's not under threat. Just keep it on the road, lad. You got this.
Acosta, you can see that time chipping down. It was at plus 18.
4 laps to go, though. Means that he's got to really make up like 3.5 seconds a lap to make this strategy pay off. I think we've done well with this one stop right here. And Hustler gets a puncture from P12 or P11 they maybe were at the time. Hustler did not pit in time to keep those hards fresh. And that's a mistake from the pit crew, from the race strategist there on Team Hemlock. That's terrible. I know they weren't necessarily going to be getting points, but they were in the running for it.
It's more great news from Team Knight.
It is.
When you think of the overall table, it's massive.
It really, really is. It really, and you know, this is part of that thing. You know, all that maple syrup. Maybe that's clouding the judgment of the minds. Not only just making the track slippy in places or sticky in other places, But if you've had too much of it, that sugar crash, maybe the race strategists just don't have it on their mind anymore. Our mechanics, meanwhile, there's a couple of them, they grew up from humble beginnings. They didn't have a lot of sugar growing up. And so they don't even blink an eye at it. They haven't really had anything sweet all weekend. They've been laser focused. And as we bring it home, Romano did indeed hold off Acosta. It is a fantastic weekend for the Knight boys, coming home in 8th and 9th. We're just getting these updates on our many crashes. So folks, just bear with us for a second. Levi Mack is recovering. Levi Mack is okay. And of course, championship leader, that will be a crucial step in the right direction for Ferrari. Fonseca, however, for Team Vernier, once again, a driver that had yet to score a point. I'm sorry, Chris, this news is coming in during your time here, that Fonseca has not made it, and they have in fact passed away, becoming our third fatality in what is already a fraught season. The others were all okay. There was just the 2 red flags we had to keep up with. The yellow flags, the drivers tend to walk away absolutely fine. We haven't heard anything to the contrary, which we're very happy about. But your thoughts on that race, Chris? Any highlights for you? What did you feel about that? How was it? How was your experience here?
Oh, it was amazing to sit next to such a storied professional.
Oh, please.
I've loved every second of it. Even those scary moments, it's all part of the sport, not necessarily the parts that we love, but it makes every checkered flag really, really important. When you see your boys getting over the line, knowing what they risk day in, day out, whether it's qualifying, whether it's the real deal, whether it's in training, these guys really put themselves through the paces, not just the cars, is it?
They really do. They really do.
To be objective for a moment, you've really got to feel for Team Pope.
100%. Been a respectful weekend from the drivers, paying respects to those that have passed away in the times before, with both the moment of silence and with the names written on the helmets. And unfortunately today, one more will have to be added to that list. Davi Fonseca. It's unfortunate, but it's a sad fact of the sport right now. Team Knight there outscoring Hemlock by 6 entire points. Romano with those 2 points, only a point behind Artie von Heim, which is huge. Rodriguez now more than doubles their score, retaking a spot in the top half of the drivers' standings with 7 points, leading that best of the rest tournament. And as we go over to the constructors, Team Knight also leading the best of the rest. We love to see it. Team Knight in 5th, now with a 5-point gap established over Pope and the rest. I'm so proud of the boys from this week. Chris, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure.
Chris is a very, very talented musician, incredibly underrated. Please go and check out the link in the description, which will be to Chris's Spotify page. And I do hope you enjoy it. Listen along to that EP while you watch the next episode that will be coming to you very soon. In the meantime, there will be a link up in the top right to another video I think you'll enjoy. And whether it's the next episode of this series or that one, I will see you there. Thank you so much for joining me. Crush out.